Here.
Mr. Michael Jr.
Here.
Any more?
Oh, yeah.
We have a quorum.
Mr. Mama, lead us in the prayer.
Oh, gracious Father, we thank you for this day, God. God, we just come to bow here with all our hearts, God. Just being thankful for who you are. God, we just thank you for being in the midst of us. And I pray that everything we do is pleasing in your sight and is according to your will. In this name we pray. Amen.
Amen. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Commissioner. We have a motion to resume this agenda.
So moved, Chairman.
Motion by Mr. Galvin. Second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Taylor. All in favor? Motion to resume this agenda. Before we get started, we have another way of do a little presentation for people before we get to our meeting. So,
And Mr. Chairman, if I could introduce, this is Mr. Freeman, Mr. Freeman, and he has a property in my district, and he just wanted to share a little information with us. It's nothing we need to vote on, but he intended to be at the general session last week and missed it, and I asked him, I said, why don't you just come today, he just wants to share a little information about a bed of breakfast he's considering out for, and he wants to know if there are any rules or regulations he needs to follow. And Mr. Freeman, if you want to
That's just, good morning, thank you for your time. My name is Jesse Freeman, my family, he's here in Bullock County, and I own some property out in the Aberforth community. I want to put a bed and breakfast out in the Aberforth community, nothing big, just $100 a night, 2-night minimum, and about $500 a week, something for the honored, or anybody that's coming from out of town that wants to lodge here in Bullock County, not out in Aberforth community. I want to know whether any rules or regulations that I need to adhere to before I move forward.
Rick, to me,
And Commissioner, I know the locations he's talking about, I think it's a great thing he's doing, out for, and yeah, I think the question really is just for our commission board, or anything, rules and regulations that the
I
commission.
don't know that there's no prohibitions against lodging or whatever. We have them scattered throughout 100 places around. The only thing is, though, you would have to comply with a lodging tax that's in place because bed and breakfast is considered to be a lodge.
Yes, sir.
But we do have lodging taxes that we don't have any lodges or many hotels.
Right.
What few we do have are required to pay the lodging tax.
Okay.
Other than that, where do you put it? Out for my home. Where is it?
Right there, Perry Green's house.
Who?
Perry Green, Mr. Perry
You're
Green.
on 239 or on the
239.
right or the left going
On the right, the brick house on the right.
I got you.
Yes,
Okay. I got property across the road. So.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. For sure.
Any other questions?
Just a comment. I don't know if there's any state regulations, but I don't think we have any from the county. I don't know of anything we have here, but I don't know if there's any state regulations that's related to a bed and breakfast, a lodging somewhere. I would look at the state regulations, but I don't think they're very much.
We don't have it.
We don't have any. So.
There may be some fire code regulations or something of that nature. There's a national fire code.
Right.
Whatever, I mean, bedroom windows, it's got to be 72 by something, whatever, for escapabilities and different things. But most home constructions meet that already.
Yes, sir.
So, anyway, other than that, but as far as Bullock County, we don't have any other than we adopted the Southern Building Code years ago. So that would be for any type of construction, you would have to meet the Southern Building Code.
Yes, sir.
Other than that, I don't know any specific lodging regulations that we have.
All right, thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you for coming in, and we wish you the best of luck.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
So, you're trying to get this off the ground right now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What you do, if you just give me all your information for your name, your business, because we got send this to our lodging tax collection.
Okay. So, do you, you got a state for Sure. Okay, good. If I need to talk about stuff. Sure thing, sir. Sure thing.
you know.
Okay, so we, okay, wanted to discuss the solid waste rules and regulations.
I had most, 90% of this already done, and I took Johnny's. He was gracious enough to give me his notes. Had all these typed up, I didn't put it on the paper that went sideways, I put it on paper rather than that. So,
Okay.
other than that, and then there is either a typo or the only thing different that I'm aware of, if you will look under residential fee, it's monthly bill $30. It says if an account is past due more than 15 days, I think we had said 5 days. That could be a typo or not. Or it may be, y'all want to talk about doing 15 days.
Do you think 15 would be better?
It was 15.
No, it was 5.
I
It was
think
5.
5, but, you know, that is pushing things really close on, you know, 5 days late. Really, I think 15 would be better myself. If we could just.
And then there's one other alteration in here that I'm aware of. If you will look under the location of carts, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lines down. It starts with a if. In the Russell County form, it said if the solid waste department. Well, in theirs, it said the solid waste officer. And I put solid waste department, in my mind, that would mean this young lady could say, we're not going to use that road. This is about using a non-county maintained road. Also, the officer could say it. The guys on the truck could convey the message if we use the language solid waste department, which if we leave solid waste officer there, the person may say, well, the officer didn't tell me that, and your rules say the officer has to do it. So I did change that. And also, if you read further, it says if the solid waste department determines that a non-county maintained road could be damaged by, or, and this is what I added in there to cover us, or could cause damage to the solid waste trucks by use of the road. Because we don't want to use a road and it be soft and go in there and the truck turn over. So I put the clause in there, or could cause damage to the solid waste truck. In other words, if we determine that that road's not safe for our truck, it could turn over or whatever. Then an alternate pickup location. So I made those two changes to that paragraph. I want to bring that to y'all's attention. If you want me to change it back, I can. It's in the computer. I can delete those changes and go back to the solid waste office.
If your driver will put anything with a road or some issue, they need to let you know and change it. Suggestions go out and say that road needs to be fixed so that truck can do what it needs to do, leave the road there. So it's all about communication on the situation.
Yes, sir.
And again, that's to deal with a non-county maintained road. In other words, for example, if they went down Aberfoyle Road to my mother's entrance to her cabin, which I know Charles and them, you had a key and they drive down there to the cabin to pick up the garbage. And it's a gravel road maintained by my family that we own. But if the county determined, hey, this road ain't safe, or we could tear up the road by going down it and said, no, you got to bring the garbage out to the gate, then, you know, that provides, it works both ways. And so that's what it's talking about, a non-county maintained road.
Well, you put that in, and the road I travel, the road's been closed going through the Sedgefield Plantation, and there's one house down there.
Bill Raymond, on the old 130.
Yeah, that's a rough road. And,
Yeah.
we don't maintain that.
That's why Johnny Adams wanted it closed.
So it's been closed. I'm just saying that's an example.
Right.
The road's not about for the shape.
That road is now owned by the landowners on both sides.
That's an example.
Yeah.
Talk about, yeah.
Jimmy, y'all ready to make a decision?
If I'm in order, I make a motion that we adopt this solid waste policy that's been presented to us today.
Got a motion by Mr. Campbell, you have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Campbell, all in favor?
Aye.
Did you have anything else?
Just a question, since I hadn't, the bills, gone out today. Thank you.
Yeah, she got them, they come in there yesterday, she was, I was looking in and out, they stacked up out this house, like this.
Jason?
I passed out some sheets to you. I know there were some questions the other day, maybe about some funding and just maybe in general funding sources, that sort of thing. Passed out a lot of information there. Basically a breakdown of all the County Rebuild Alabama funds since that was actually initiated. That's the larger sheet here. You can kind of see where it went from when it was first initiated, 342,000, 506,000 to now it's 653,000. That's when it went from 6 cents, 8 cents, to 10 cents. So that's kind of what we're, expect to be averaging somewhere there in the neighborhood of $650,000 a year.
You was on that huge spreadsheet.
Yeah, that's a big spreadsheet. There's a lot of numbers on there, a lot of information. And that kind of shows a breakdown of all the roads we've done since the County Rebuild Alabama Fund came into being. Kind of a breakdown there below it of where those monies have gone. There's another sheet here that shows basically, I mentioned the other day about county funds, some road projects being funded by separate county funds. We also do have a 3R money that we use to pay for some road improvements. I say maybe $200,000. Road and bridge funds would be kind of in that same neighborhood, 100 to 200,000. We also have capital improvement funds. We can spend half of that for road projects. And then you throw in there the federal aid exchange funds, which is about $400,000 a year. And then you got the County Rebuild Alabama funds. It adds up to about, say, 1.3 to 1. Maybe even 1.5 million. Those numbers kind of vary somewhat year to year. It also included the county transportation plan. We had allocated 300. Talk about the project here, Pleasant Hill Road. We had allocated 300,000 towards that initially when this was passed. Was that before the bids were received? And we anticipated, also being able to use 3R funds and then maybe some road, bridge, and building funds for that as well too. I should mention one thing. Talking to Patrick too. I guess it comes down to it. We also got some general fund money and this SUT funds that could be, spent toward roads if we get to that point. But I know this one particular, and I also included a letter that was from the transportation director awarding this money, $250,000 towards this project. And I know this project came in higher than what we initially anticipated. This application was probably put in about 2 years ago, and back there is a deadline. They probably review these things for several months, and then they probably awarded it probably close to a year later after that. And then we're almost a year after being awarded now. But all that being said, I still do recommend that we award this project to East Alabama Paving for that amount of $972,186.24 for the resurfacing of Pleasant Hill Road. There may be an opportunity for us to cut down on some of that. It's all tonnage and based on that, so maybe an opportunity, like I said, to cut back on some of that. And tight as possible for those numbers. But of course, like I said, that'll be used for $250,000 money coming from the state, and then I propose the rest of it be used, the remainder being used for capital rebuild Alabama funds, 3R funds, and road and bridge funds, combination of that. That's my suggestion, recommendation.
That representative Commissioner Garland made it. Commissioner Garland, we need to briefly some of these started for the wrong.
Yes, sir, that's fine.
Good. Gentlemen, are you ready to make this? Yes, sir. I'd like to speak to that. Now, in this letter, they said contact Brad Lindsay. I contacted Brad Lindsay. He will be back in until tomorrow. As it relates not only to this, but the $5 million that we borrowed in the time frame for getting this work done. He's the local transportation engineer that covers this area. I talked to Senator Beasley after we left. He said perhaps, why hadn't we done this already? You know, he said, but perhaps there could be some money coming from this, maybe from conservation, let him visit it. Maybe he could find some more money to assist in getting this road paved, you know, and going back to conservation. And in March, when they go in session, at a meeting I was at yesterday, this bipartisan infrastructure money hadn't been decided how they're going to spend it yet, but in March, the legislature is going to see how this money is going to be spent. You know, and local senators and representatives are going to have, you know, some billion-some dollars out there, you know, we might get some more money from this. The same reason I questioned this before, we got to look at our budget and see what we're going to do. And I asked you to get a budget plan when we go on this budget, how we going to do this $5 million bond issue. We need to know that now, budgeting and going forward, so the money's available if we have to do this in a time frame of 3 years. Now, we need to figure all of this out. And I was going to look for Bradley Lindsay from the local transportation engineer to give me some direction to bring back to you guys. I don't know if you talked to him or not, but I'd like to just hold until our regular meeting and look at this after we get some more information on this money and see what our budget looks like. Because to put $722 million on a road, like I say, got about 3 households on it, and people have been suffering for years, you know, with road paved. I want to look at this seriously before I just commit to going that way at this time. So if we can just wait till our meeting, which is just a couple of months away, a couple of weeks away, and get some more information on this and where some funding might possibly come from, rather than tie up these funds now and commit to this project. Which probably, maybe it won't be done for next year anyway, you know, the weather plays a role in all of this. And the other projects ain't even started yet. So I'm going to wait until our meeting to look back at this. And after we talk to Brad Lindsay.
You know, and I understand that, and I did talk to Brad Lindsay last Friday. I did talk to him, and that's who I spoke with there at the DOT about this project, about any other sources of funding. You know, he said there wasn't any other sources of funding, wasn't any additional funding through this grant. You know, he said there might be
Not this grant, I'm talking about this infrastructure, but they're going to decide on in March. See that we made. Bobby Singleton, state senator, said that yesterday. In talking to us, you know, that in March when they go in, he gave the dollar amount, you know, in billions of dollars, you know, that the legislature was going to have to get out to communities, you know, to the black people and stuff like that.
Right. You know, the only thing I say is,
well, there's no motion yet. We said we went on this.
well, I was just going to say, you know, this letter here that was from the director of the DOT is September 21st. And they require that this thing be moving forward with a letter of intent to award this contract within a year time.
I didn't see that in there. I read this carefully.
But I mean, that was part of the original application. That it moved forward within a year, and that this project be awarded within a year time frame of that, which that would be, you know, next week. So that's the only thing that I would suggest looking at is that.
That's what Senator Beasley said. But it took so long for a year to get this going. That's what the engineer would have to answer that, Senator, because I don't know why it took so long. We went to get caught in this.
Well, some of this was building up these funds to get there to that point, so we could be able to pay for this. Like I said, this money, when you look at the spreadsheet right here, this money comes in, you know, on a monthly basis every month. This big spreadsheet here, it comes in on a monthly basis, and some of that was getting that we had these other projects that were coming up ahead of this, and we had this one, and so a lot of it was just getting the money in place to do it, having the money in place to do those others. Like I said, this is not part of that ATIP funding, but I really don't want to lose out on the possibility. I understand the road not having a lot of houses down there. I understand the road, though, not having any resurfacing work, or not being resurfaced since 1960s when it was originally built. You know, somebody asked me that the other day when we walked out, they were talking about roads and this and that, and asked me about that particular road. I said, well, so there's, there hadn't any resurfacing work done on it since it was originally paved in the 60s. And we have a few roads like that, not many left, but we've got a few of them like that still. And those are the ones that are in the worst shape and do need, sometimes it takes more money to get those back in decent shape because nothing's really been done on them.
Can I say this? I understand the timeline, deadline about spending money next week.
Let's clear that. Is that actual fact? I mean, I don't know that. I'm waiting for this guy to say this. Now, you saying this, and you said things here before. Is that an actual fact? You saying we have to spend it back in the next week? Is that a fact?
To my understanding, yes, that's one application that has to have an intent, award letter intent by that year time frame.
Well, let me speak on this in my district. When we started out, we said it's going to be a year. And that's when they loaned us that money. And that's what we went out there and beat the bushes and advocated for that money to try to help with that road. And the thing with it, you talk about more money. The money that you going out there trying to seek, Commissioner McGowan, use it on another road. Use it on 52. Use it on 52. If you going out there trying to seek more funds, but we don't got funds for this road, and Bullock County don't need to lose more funds for a road. So I make a motion that we go forward with trying to get this project done.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Before the next one, like I was saying, to the gravity of pricing. When I first heard this project here, I kept asking. They said the initial price was estimated was $300,000. Correct?
Correct.
$300,000. So within, I've been here since November 2020. So in less than 2 years, we see how prices have jumped from $300,000 to $972,000. Am I correct?
Yeah, and I'll say that that $300,000, there was a proposal we had before that. You know, we've submitted several years for this, trying to get money for that, was in the neighborhood of $600,000. We looked at that $300,000, that was basically to put a chip seal down and a surface that is not quite as good as what we're getting here. We're getting a better product here and a product that is that will hold up and be a decent road.
Yeah, I was thinking to the gravity of how we're talking about paving. It's expensive. We're not going to get much done. It's going to get possible. Because if we estimated $300,000 just a year ago, that's 3 times. Almost, that's 3 times. And we're only resurfacing. We're not doing anything, we're just resurfacing. Just think about what we're going to be able to get done. So whatever we got, we need to get in a hurry, get in line, and start doing something. I'm for paying all roads in Bullock County. I don't want to lose any money, any money that we've gone out to get. I don't want to lose any money. And I think this is an indication that we all got to be aggressive about whatever we do by our road paving. I mean, we got to be very aggressive. Like I spoke with Jason the other day, they're going to pay one team coming from Montgomery all the way to County Road 7. The bids are open right now. And for 10 and a half miles of road, the bids are coming from 1.4 million to 1.8 for 10 and a half miles. So I talked to Jason about it. Why not just get in line right now? They're going to be paying right there in our county. Let's get some stuff rolling right now to push this thing through, because this money going to get sucked up so quick in the blink of an eye. And definitely don't want to lose any grant money. Definitely don't want to lose that. So it's a bill we got to fight. Prices jump. We voted to get the road paved, and that's the price and cost of it. Like Mr. Lockett said, if there is more money, the price ain't gonna change. If you get the money, there is actual money out there,
Vice Commissioner Marlowe. Motion by Commissioner.
Just more discussion, you got to say. Just more discussion on the motion.
Okay.
Yeah. Conservation's not gonna give money to anything else. Senator Beasley said he's gonna look to conservation for some money and give him 3 days, he's going out of town, be back, and may have some other things. Conservation, if they can put some money in this, we need this money that we're gonna submit over here to do these other projects that we need to do. We don't need to tap $722,000 on this, if we can get some other money to help assist this. If we got more than a week. Now, if we don't have any more than a week, I consider it, but I'd like to confirm this with Brad Lindsay, that this got to be done in a week, like you said. And, you know, if there's any leeway to hold on this, we certainly want the road paved now, without a doubt. The nature centers been trying to get this money forever, you know, get this road paved. That's why we submitted this. So we want to get it paved, but do it to get the most bang for our buck, because our bucks are running small on the projects we got ahead of us. If indeed, see, this $5 million has been reluctant to move with. I don't see any plans for spending this money yet, and we've got 2.5 years to spend this $5 million in this particular project that we got, to my understanding. I want to get a full understanding and read that if we have that, and what happens if we don't do this in that time frame and just say, okay, you got $5 million, Bullock County Commission, y'all just do this. You know, I don't want to come back and we got it, we couldn't spend it, we couldn't do it because of whatever reasons. We said we were going to do this with that, and I want to make sure we can do this with that. 2.5 years, 2.5 years already gone. Now, if we got 2.5 years to comply with this, and we're going to be come under some scrutiny if we're going to do this in 2.5 years. I want to know this before I make a move on spending $700,000 in another direction. So that's all I have to say on that, and that's where I'm at on that now. But I want you to understand that, and I definitely will follow up after the motion.
We got a motion by Commissioner Barton, second by Commissioner Marlowe. All in favor? Any opposed?
Well, I oppose it based on what I said.
Motion carried.
Then it'll be reflected in the minutes why I oppose my statement, my opposition.
And, you know, but I understand that, and I still will, I will speak to conservation and see if they can come up with some money towards this.
He said he was going to speak to conservation and try to find some money for this project. He said that to me.
I'll talk to Senator Beasley and we'll see if we can talk to them and see if they can put some money towards this and lessen the county.
I just have a question, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
If we do find money later on, we still can use it toward the project, man.
Use it toward what? Oh, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying, yeah, if we find money, if they say, yeah, we're gonna put 50,000 or 100,000 next week.
Okay.
That'll just lessen the county's.
Because the price ain't gonna change.
Yeah, I mean, this is a bid, we got 2 bids actually on this job, and, we got 2 bids on this job, and so we can move forward, try to still speak with them and try to find some money up there.
Yes, sir.
Before we leave, the information going in our budget as it relates to this $5 million, what are we going to have to do to satisfy this bond issue and get this job done in these roads that we've identified and got this money for? Bring that to us and let us see what we got to do so we can put these monies in the budget. Don't say they're not in the budget, we can move forward with these projects over the next 2 years. We got to look 2 years out on this budget and get everything we got to get to fulfill this obligation. And let's examine that obligation. What is it required? That's what we're talking about. I'm still going to talk to Brad tomorrow and see how we obligated to that and what we can do. DOT got it, hang on. And we got to do that before us. And we didn't know about this a year time frame until, Chairman, if I had insisted we go ahead and bid this project, when we bid that, let's move and get some of this stuff out of the way. Talking about a week. See, so that's what disappoints me. You're talking about we got a week to do it, and I got to beat the hammer and say, let's bid some of this stuff and get it out the way. And then come up to a bid now and come back, now we got a week, and we hearing all of these things when we got this out here. But you all were here, let's bid these projects. Then, okay, well, I'll bid this one. I'm going to drug it out of you to bid it, and you know it all the time, it's a year. Now, where that lackadaisical stuff come from? That disappoints me to the highest.
Commissioner Galvin, we done borrowed $5 million. Any plans, projects for that, put together now? That's what he talking about here. That's a done deal, right? But this $5 million, like you said, we need to be moving because we make the payments and they get that done.
Right. You know, when I pass out that property to this, you know, we're looking at priority B now. Those, Mr. Marlowe, we talked the other day, the next roads we had coming up on that list were County Road 7, County Road 15, counting those areas, Fitzpatrick Road. So that kind of tied in one we were talking about contractor doing some work out there on 110, but they won't. We don't anticipate them really doing that until the spring. But what my plan is to get these lined up over the winter and have them in place for the spring. And then you're talking about long lengths of roads there, 7 and 15 going all the way from the county line up to 82, 7 going all the way from the county line up to Highland Road, and then you got Fitzpatrick Road. So you're talking about two of the longer roads we have with this $5 million being there. And but it'll eat up a lot of that money. But that's kind of the plan is to those are the next roads we're gonna push for, get them done over the next couple of months and have them in place. March timeframe.
Ready to go. My bid for 110 right now ends this month. It doesn't make any sense if you got a pavement company right there at Fitzpatrick Store on 110 pavement, and they don't go down Fitzpatrick Road and pave. I know some two different things, but it would look better if I were a company. And I know I won this bid here for the state on 110. Surely I would take the Bullock County bid right there. Equipment is right there.
We don't know what that company got planned after that.
That's right. We don't know. So get in the way of the plan. You got to get in the way. But if we don't have our hand raised up and say we got this ready, of course they're going to plan to go to another place after they 110. You're exactly right. We got to be in the plan of these companies. Because they got forecasted what they're going to do January, February, March, April, May, June, July. They're not going to come back and say, okay, we're going to get a wait list. Maybe November they can get to it. But we got it ready, and they're right there. Surely, they can offer their plan just for, how long will it take to pay one Fitzpatrick Road? 5 minutes? I'm just saying. just think about it. Everything is right. The only thing we're doing is resurfacing. I mean, just think about it. We just got to get ready. Be ready. That's it.
You know, it's just.
Hey, I was wondering that, as far as, when you're talking about the budget for fiscal year 23 up front. So, I mean, I know we're gonna report, the gas tax and the kind of rebuild tax, of course, that goes to pay off the AT. But as far as the projects, you do anticipate budget some of the projects for fiscal 23. That's some of the projects from the AT, I mean, as far as expenditure purposes.
Right.
That's correct. Okay. So we just,
The other question is, let's look at that $5 million agreement that we got and see what we have to do in a time frame in the 2 years. We got to see what we got to do in that. So let's bring that up right away. I mean early. Tomorrow will be too soon for me to take a look at it. I'm gonna talk to Brad about it. You gonna be around tomorrow?
I should be around.
Well, let's get together and talk about that $5 million. So I'll have some understanding of what we have to do before we start going into our budget hearings. So I got a lot to do.
Church area.
Second.